Partners kind of talk to their customer base, they're certainly going to start to think of, what's the best way to go ahead and bring this to my customer base? How should I position it? And when I talk to partners about this, I typically recommend, stick to the basics. Safety, security, reliability, scalability, redundancy, all important factors for customers when they're looking at backup solutions. When you start throwing online in there, no doubt you're going to get some type of rebuttal from the customer that says, what about if? So being able to kind of cut off a lot of those objectives early on in the process makes it really easy for you to be able to go ahead and kind of position it and get in there a lot easier. Talking about safety, security, and reliability, that's where you're going to start to bring up compliances and certificates and things. Things like SAS 70 Type 2 certifications, Tier 4 data centers, all the redundancy, all the security that's kind of included with the solution. Armed guards, dual biometric access requirements, things like that are really going to kind of ease your customer's mind to say, you know what, okay, this really is a safe, secure solution. Talking about redundancy and reliability, always important when you're talking about online solutions. You never know when a disaster might hit, especially if the disaster is going to hit in your local area. I typically recommend against partnering with a company that's in your local area unless they have facilities that are also in additional locations. There's definitely a lot of companies out there that are basically providing online backup solutions that are in a single facility that's right next to the customer. Well, it'll make a whole heck of a lot of sense. If a tornado comes through or a massive flood comes through, well, it's going to take care of both the data center and your customer data, and everybody's out of luck. So it's important to kind of take a look at where those data centers are and if they make sense. Partnering with companies that have multiple data centers definitely makes a lot of sense because then it basically eliminates that for you. It opens you up to be able to go ahead and start marketing to more nationwide customers. So if you've got customers over on the West Coast, you can service those appropriately. East Coast, you can service those appropriately. But regardless of where the customers are, you're able to go ahead and service them and say, you know what, your data is safe and secure. Tapes, huge selling point. If you still have customers that are on tape solutions, which a lot of our partners still do, talking about the tapes, talking about the cost of them, talking about that they don't have to swap them anymore. They don't have to worry about losing them. They don't have to deal with the compliances or any of those things because the online backup basically just takes care of it all for you. And it really allows you to go ahead and scale out that solution much more as well. We talk to a lot of customers that they're currently using tape solutions and now it's okay. The tape drive's full. Now they're on to a tape and a half. They have to swap the tape midday to make sure they get a full backup. Not really practical in a lot of cases. So having a solution that's able to go ahead and scale out with the customer so you don't have to worry about those tapes is huge. I'm sure if I put up a poll of how many people have had an issue with the tape, it would probably be 100%. In fact, I don't think I've ever talked to any technician or any partner that said, my tapes have worked 100% of the time, they were perfect, they were awesome, they were amazing. Not a single partner. Every single partner I've talked to has some horror story about tapes and dealing with tapes, which is why the disk-based backup became so popular. Disk-based backup became really popular, and now you're starting to deal with scalability issues where you can't store as much data on the tapes, on those disks, as you would like. So it goes back to really having that scalability factor inside there. And that's where our talking point to cost-effective solution that grows with you comes in, is really having that solution that's able to go ahead and scale out with you. Once you've been able to go ahead and position the solution to the customer, next is going to come the, but what about, but you're going to start to come across a lot of customer objections. And that brings us to our next slide. Your customer more than likely is going to go ahead and bring up some type of objection for you, saying, is my data safe? Is it recoverable? Is it always available? You're going to get a lot of questions like this. And it's always really nice when you can have those answers readily available for your customer. And whether it's by marketing information that you're kind of going ahead and providing them with your name and your information on it, or just kind of talking over the points, it definitely has a lot of value. Is my data safe? Well, yeah. Your data's on the East Coast, your data's on the West Coast. SAS 70 Type 2 facilities, regularly audited, making sure they do what they say they're doing, redundancy throughout the entire system. You're not going to get any better. How quickly can I recover my data? Well, yeah, that's going to be an important fact. You know, do you have a copy of the data encrypted on the local customer site? Can a hard drive be overnighted to you? Yeah, we can do all that for you. Definitely makes it a little bit easier conversation to say, yeah, we can get that data out to you very, very quickly. Is my data always available? You know, do you have to go ahead and run down to the warehouse to go ahead and pull out tapes and put them into a drive to go ahead and restore back the information? Do you have to request a drive or request the information to become available and have to wait a 48-hour period or a 7-day period? Important factor for the customer. Solutions like Intronis, it's always available. So you can always have access to your data wherever it is. Will I still be able to meet my compliances? And this is a huge bullet point. It's becoming more and more common for customers to ask this question. Is it compliant with XYZ compliance? Is it compliant with the red flag? Is it compliant with PCI? Is it compliant with PHI? Is it compliant with HIPAA, high-tech, Graham Leach, SOX? All kinds of alphabet soups of compliances out there, and they're just getting worse and worse. It seems every time we turn around, there's another type of compliance that's out there that your customers are having to try to meet to be able to meet with their data. And a lot of these compliances are specifically targeting the data itself. They don't care about your business process. They don't care about any of that stuff. They care about, you know, this data, this information, because of that TJX incidents and WikiLeaks incidents. So being able to tell them confidently, yes, this solution is able to meet that compliance. And working with a company that basically is saying, yes, we're going to go ahead and we're going to stay up to date on all these compliances is huge. Makes a big difference to your customers to just be able to say that, put down a white paper or whatever it may be, and be able to overcome that objection very quickly and very easily. So to kind of give you an idea, we took a quick survey of our customer base, and we basically went through our system and found out customers that had pricing plans built into the solution and took a look at what they were billing and compared the two. And we were actually really surprised at the number that we came out with. And we actually found that a lot of our partners that's working with the Intronis solution, when we go ahead and we bill them out $5,000, they're making almost $20,000 a month. We were incredibly surprised. We figured it would be somewhere around 1.5 to 2 multiplier, but we came over it actually turned out to be 4.36 times multiplier, which was amazing. We were really impressed to see, you know, our partners are being wildly successful with the online backup. So there's definitely a lot of profitability out there for partners, and it's definitely a great solution, easy solution to be able to go ahead and put into a lot of your customer base. And it may not be backing up their entire system, maybe it's just backing up small pieces, but it certainly can fit into a lot of your customer base. So to kind of quickly recap what we talked about today, price the solution according to what works best for you and your customers. You're going to hear all kinds of different stories about different ways that people price the solution, position it, and so forth. It's really important that you go ahead and you price it the way that's most comfortable for you and what makes the most sense for you guys. It's important to regularly communicate information to your customers, and it's important not to overly communicate information as well. You don't want to be blasting out every day, but you know, maybe once a week, once a month. It's important to regularly communicate with your customers so they both know you're there and they know about your new products and services. Ensure that you're providing additional value out to your customers and not just another service. That's probably the biggest bullet point of all. It's a lot about the value add that you're providing the solution, not just the nitty-gritty features and functionality. When you talk to a business owner and say, oh yeah, it's got SAS70 Type 2, blah, 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 AES 256, SSL 543, 24, you start rambling off these acronyms, they're just going to glaze over. A lot of that information is meaningless to the customer in most cases. But when you say, oh yeah, you know what, we're going to take care of the backup, we're going to make sure it works for you. When you start to talk about that value add that you're providing them, it makes a huge difference in the solution that you're actually providing out to your customer.